So let's take a look at graphing a circle. And this is going to relate to a video that I made about the distance formula. So if you haven't looked at that one, please go back to that one. I think it's 1.3b. So let's take a look at a picture first of all of, let me see here. Let me get myself a little coordinate plane. We're going to take a look at a picture of a circle. And let's just put this circle at approximately, I don't know, something like this. It's fine. Oops, you know what? I'm going to make it a little different. I'm going to do it right here. There's the center. Okay, there's the center. And then I'm going to give it a bit of a radius, and we'll call this one of the points. Okay, here's a circle. Not perfect, but good enough. This is a circle, and we're going to call this point on the perimeter of the circle, on the circumference of the circle, we're going to call it just x, y. There's a point, x, y, on the circumference of the circle. And then, excuse me, this one I'm going to call, I'm actually going to call it h, k. All right, now let's take a look at a line that would connect the 2 points, and we would know from our geometry class a while back that that is called the radius, right? So there are many radii on this thing, and they're all the same, right? Now my picture doesn't make it look like they're all the same, but the radius is the same anywhere, no matter what x, y point I pick. I could pick a point out here or whatever. So let's take a look at connecting the relationship between hk, the center, and xy, a point on the circumference of the circle. And so let's see, if I'm wanting to know the distance between those 2 points, meaning the radius, the length of the radius, we know that we would do this. We would say r equals, right, radius equals, and then I would go ahead and use the distance formula. So let's go ahead and take this. We're going to go x minus h, right? I take the difference of the x coordinates and I square them, and I take the difference of the y coordinates and I square them. So if we look at this, we've used the h and the k. Okay, we've used the h and the k, we've used the x and the y, and then we have another variable, which is the radius. Now if I pick another point somewhere on the circle, let's call this xy down here, this blue xy, okay, and I give the same, put the same formula in, this radius will be the same, right? You agree that the radius is consistent. That's why we call it a circle, right? The distance from a center to these points on the circumference of the circle is always consistently the radius. So let's do this. Since both of these sides are positive, this is an r that's a distance, right? Positive, and then this is also the principal root, right? We already it's already positive. It's non-negative. So, and it's not 0, so it is positive. So we could square both sides. Let's do that. We're going to square both sides. And what's going to happen is that radical is going to be undone, and then what's going to happen on the left side, we're going to have r squared, and that's equal to x minus, I'm going to keep the colors consistent so you can see where everything, originated, and then y minus k. Now what we've just done is we've actually written a standard. We're going to call this the standard form of a circle. So it actually comes from the distance formula, standard formula, or standard form for a circle. So I'm going to go ahead and write this really large right here. This is a circle. Okay? This is the standard form for a circle. And so let's take a look. What if I have some directions? Pretty simple, right? If I have some directions in my book that says to sketch a circle. And let's say we're going to sketch this one. X minus 2 squared plus y plus 4. Throw a little curve in there for you. And that's equal to 9. Now, we're going to, do some thinking backwards here. If I remember correctly, this right here is my related to my center of my circle. However, there's a problem right here, right? You see that? That doesn't fit the formula. So I'm going to go back a step and wonder, what was in there that would have caused that sign to change? In other words, I'm going to go ahead and make the formula the right formula. The formula owns the minus. The formula owns the minus, right? And so they don't have a minus, and so they must have put in something that would have changed that back to a plus. So, okay, so then what we have here is this. So this was the same. So let's take a look then and make red. Ooh, Miss Savelle, that was not what I wanted to do. Let's make yellow the actual numbers, right, that are outside the minus. So the minus is owned by the formula. This minus is owned by the formula. That means to get my center of my circle, to pull the center back out, we would have 2 for the H and then a -4 for the Y for the K. Okay, do you see that? Because the minus has to be in place for the formula to be in place. And then we would look at the number that would have to be put in that so that it would go back to the plus. Okay, so the center of the circle that I'm supposed to sketch is 2, -4. Now let's take a look at this right here. That's really supposed to be what? R squared. Well, what was R? If we go backwards, then R had to be 3. The radius had to be 3, since that's the formula that the distance basically, or that other side of the equals is going to be something squared. So we go undo it and find out what it was before. Now we're going to go ahead and sketch the circle. All right, I'm going to go to the center first, over 2, -4, and put a dot. Here's my center. And now from that, I'm going to go out 3 in every direction, right? To every direction. There's 3 that way, 1, 2, 3 this way. And I'm going to follow the grid, right? Because it would be hard to go diagonally 3. I don't know what diagonally 3 would be. I mean, I could estimate it, eyeball it, but I'm just going to eyeball it with following the grid. Good enough there. Okay, there's the sketch of the circle. So all we did was they gave us the standard form. We adjusted it a little bit right here to go back to the real standard form that has a minus in that spot. And we found that the center was 2, -4, and the radius was 3. Pretty easy, right? Okay, thanks for listening.